Today, I'm going to be trying to get on the Speed Clutch leaderboard. This is a classic and highly sought after obstacles challenge on the bedwarspractice.club server. With players like Doogile on the leaderboard, I knew I was going to have to train hard. Luckily, I've recently discovered Bedwars Practice has a vast array of player-made maps with their own competitive scene. I thought this would be the perfect way to both improve my skills to defeat Speed Clutch and claim as many custom map leaderboards as I could.
Sucked in, hackalol.
I thought it would be fitting to start on this challenge map by Beik Poel, where the goal was to beat the course in 13 seconds, meaning I'd have to be as efficient as possible. It included a couple neo jumps and a slightly chaotic bridge to end it off.
Could do that.
I then took a look at the leaderboard times to see what I could learn.
Wait, you can place blocks on the stone? Oh my god, dude! I swear you couldn't do that before.
There was also this alternate path to beating the map, which I tried to experiment with, which started seeming pretty promising.
Wait, the top could be viable?
But after taking a look at the #1 spot on the leaderboard, I followed the herd and decided it would be best to just take the regular path. And so I began the grind and tried to gradually improve how efficiently I could do each section. It seemed a lot of it would come down to how I pathed the bridge to the finish line, and if the jump boost could land me in a decent spot, especially because it didn't take long for me to master the first 2/3 of the course. So I just had to get the ending right.
Hey, we beat 13 seconds. Oh!
After surprising myself with a top 4 leaderboard spot, I was confident I could push to second place, and therefore overtake Hackalol's spot, which for some reason is always a goal of mine. I don't know why. I don't even know the guy.
I tripped on the block.
I improved my time by half a second, but I knew I was one solid ending away from second place.
Where are we? Oh, sucked in, hackalol, sucked in, hackalol.
But I wasn't done there, because based off my experimenting with the alternate path earlier, I really felt like it had potential. So now that I mastered the first 2/3 of the course, I felt like this would be a good chance to see what times this alternate path could get. It took me a sec to get the jump boost working in my favor, but then I was able to whip this out.
Yo. We tied it, right?
Now all I had to do was get everything perfect, which would mean try not to hesitate on the teleport up.
What's that? Oh! We got this, dude.
We were getting so close, but I knew I was still slightly hesitant on that teleport up. But with slightly more efficient movement at the top, I ended up tying the #1 spot.
Wait, what? We're gone.
So because we reached a #1 spot, I'd have to wait for Beik Poel to approve the run before I saw it on the leaderboard. But while I waited, I wasn't done. I knew I could still have less hesitation, leading to this run. Rest assured, I checked back the next day, and there it was. Up next, I decided to try this map called Speedrun by Catanus.
Oh, okay, wait.
Now, this map, actually, it didn't end up being too tricky. The beginning mostly played into my strengths, so with some decent wall running and, to end it off, a very lucky jump boost, I was able to achieve my ultimate goal.
Sucked in, hackalol.
Next, I found another map by Beik Poel. This one just being called Obstacle Course. This map was great because it gave a lot of alternate paths, making you have to think outside the box to get a good time.
Okay, this one's pretty fun. I'm trying to figure out which way is the best way to go. I feel like this way is like a better angle, like it goes straight towards the end.
With my eyes set on a path, it was time to experiment with the exact route I should take.
Where am I going?
And it didn't take long till I had a pretty good idea on how to do the first half efficiently. What I would mostly struggle with is the second half, due to the random distances of the final few jumps here. I felt like there were infinite options on how you could path it. But then, I ended up surprising myself with this run.
Oh, we're on. Nice.
Now, unfortunately, this would end up being a bit of a sad story. I kept trying to improve how efficiently I could do each section, finding seemingly quicker paths.
Wait.
For example, here, I accidentally found that you can actually skip a block clutch. You can skip a wall run by skimming a jump off of this block. I also kept trying to improve my pathing at the end by seeing how I could utilize double extensions in some sort of way to make my path more direct to the end.
Oh, I tied it.
It really felt like I was making my path more direct to the finish, but despite my efforts...
Oh, that's it.
I couldn't beat my 12.1 second time, despite this run being what I think is more impressive. Maybe it's obvious to you guys, but I'm really not sure what I'm doing wrong here. So please let me know in the comments if there's something I'm missing that's making my new route slower.
Serious?
Now, the speed clutch training was getting serious as I started trying some speed clutch inspired maps. Up first, we have Speed Clutch 2 by Snaky Waters. To quickly get over these walls here without having to jump through the doorways, I'd have to triple jump, which isn't something I do very often. It took me a sec to get the hang of it, but eventually I was able to make the jump pretty consistently. And honestly, just that alone was pretty much all I needed to get on the leaderboard.
That was okay. Oh, we're on. Woohoo!
I watched back the clip to see how I could make it more efficient, and I had an idea on how I could do better pathing at the beginning by wall running at a slightly earlier point. The idea was that this would give me a more direct path when jumping around this pillar, rather than doing the hard 90-degree turn that I was doing before. After not beating my time and beginning the edit of this video, I thought I should return to the map and try again.
Simply Weasley, this is unacceptable.
I kept trying to improve on my idea until I got this run.
Top 5!
Woo. Next, I randomly got sidetracked on this fun little map called Parkour Run 1 by Heath4K, which would comprise of 3 different levels. And it seemed like it might be a pretty easy map to get a leaderboard time on.
Alright, Hackalol. What are you doing? Oh, shoot!
Realizing I had to step up my game, I started trying to improve my pathing with these awkward double extendeds. I'd also have to try get lucky with the jump boost to land me in a clutchable spot, skipping the intended path. And it didn't take long until I got this run.
Yo.
But it wasn't enough, and I was confused by this. Call it copium, but I was convinced that my 400 ping was adding more delay to the telepads than it was for others. I hopped back on another day, hoping for a different result, but unfortunately, I was behind my PB by 0.001 seconds. But after beginning this edit, I returned for my leaderboard spot.
You win this time, Hackalol. Shut up, phone!
I was starting to feel ready for the speed clutch grind, but first, I wanted to be something arguably tougher. This is Speed Clutch Improved by Corkin. To beat this map, I would have to double jump here, jump around here, make a 4-block jump, and then have to do this really awkward wall run. And then I'd have to try work out how to do a 4-block vertical in the most efficient way possible. And then after an easy jump around here, I'd have to deal with the pesky staircase, and then I'd have to do this very painful final obstacle in which it was not going to be easy to overcome in any sort of efficient way. Of course, I refer to the leaderboard to see what's been discovered so far, in which the 4-block vertical solution was my main takeaway.
Ooh! Okay. Triple jump into double extended.
I began trying to master this section first, which, unsurprisingly, was pretty tricky for me. I'm not that great at either of these moves, so putting them together was quite a challenge. The next big challenge was this final obstacle, which I was incredibly inconsistent at. There was something just so awkward about making this jump around into a clutch, and making it quick enough to actually get a good time.
Oh my god.
I started to gain a bit of a method, but I knew in the moment of a run that I'd panic a lot at this point, and probably ruin a lot of runs this way. But despite the challenges that laid ahead, all I could do at this point was start sending it, and gaining some familiarity and consistency, which I desperately needed. I started getting some close attempts, but they had quite a few flaws. At this point, I was just trying to connect all the pieces, and not necessarily be the most efficient. But despite having some consistency issues, when returning to the map a couple days later, I found a slightly quicker way to do the beginning, by skipping the double jump and just wall running earlier on, creating less adjustment when jumping around the pillar. But suddenly, in the midst of learning this new path, this happened.
I tripped. Oh! Wait, that still gets us top 3. Yo. What?
So, despite tripping and killing my momentum here, I still got top 3. But it was time to move on, and finally begin grinding Speed Clutch. Now, straight off the bat, comparing my beginning in this older clip to what I'm doing now, I think really shows just how much I improved my movement. I'm spending a lot less time being diagonal and prioritizing running in a straight line. Now, there was still plenty of improvement I needed for the following sections, with perhaps the biggest challenge being the ending, in which I needed to cleanly get around this awkward obstacle without slowing down. Luckily, Copper had made a very handy practice map, which helped me work out the best method around it. Now, I found myself questioning my pathing in the yellow section, so I decided to check out Doogile's pathing on the map, in which he did something really cool.
Ooh. Okay. I think I can do that. Okay, so I had to put a block here.
It ended up not being too tricky and was way quicker than wall running around it. Now all I had to do was connect all the pieces.
Boom. What's that? Oh dude, we're actually so far off. What the hell?
Being confused on my much slower time, I looked at Doogile's run again to see if there was anything that I missed, in which I realized that his multiple double jumps might give an extra boost of speed due to less air time.
Okay. I think I need to gain I think I get extra speed from the double jumps. Okay, and he goes up on this block as well here.
So I began adjusting my route, jumping up on the green to skip a wall run, and using double jumps in the red to gain more momentum. Using these methods, I was able to improve my time by 300 milliseconds. But it wasn't enough. I experimented with the right side of the ending for some reason, and I kept trying to improve my overall pathing, but then I got this run.
How?
I didn't understand how it could be so far off, so I compared my run to another run using the exact same method by a player named Razor.
We're at the exact spot here. We're at the exact same spot. Exact same spot. I might even be like the slightest, tiniest bit ahead even. Yeah, I'm gonna land first.
We were arguably very slightly ahead, yet somehow, Razor's time would be 300 milliseconds faster. And that's when I noticed something.
Wait, how come my timer kept... I feel like my timer kept going.
Despite landing at nearly the exact same time as Razor, my time continued to 11.2 seconds. Now, usually on the custom maps, the server compensates for my Aussie ping. As you can see here, I land at the finish at 12.25 seconds. Because of my 400 milliseconds of ping, the time continues for an extra 400 milliseconds past the finish line. But the server compensates for my ping and brings it back to 12.25 seconds by subtracting my sweet Australian 400 millisecond delay. Whereas on Speed Clutch, which is not a custom map, I arguably hit the finish line at 10.85 seconds. But when it continues going up past the finish line, this time it doesn't compensate. And as you can see from this more accurate time in the bottom left, the extra time added was 400 milliseconds. In other words, it's a ping diff. Come on, it's ping diff. Unfair, rigged. But even then, sadly, it's impossible to know if I would have made the leaderboard. We just don't know. So in a fit of rage, I went back to Speed Clutch Improved to claim my victory.